Hey guys, welcome to Fancy Tipped. Max back with you for another Weekend Ads episode, and as always, we'll go over the best available options under 70% rostered for this weekend. This weekend, we only have one game on Friday, 15 on Saturday, and 5 games on Sunday. But lucky us, we actually have one team who plays on both off nights, and that team is the Carolina Hurricanes. We'll start with them, and then we'll go over the other 9 teams for Sunday. At number 1, I have Jack Roslovic. He's had points in 14 of the 28 games he's played this season, up to 13 goals already. He's producing all across the lineup wherever he's put. PP2 option. He's the one guy you need if you want to take advantage of the schedule. I also have Eric Robinson, 8 goals, 9 assists, 17 points in 28 games. Line 2, no power play time for him. Going towards career highs. I personally don't think it's sustainable, but he's a good patch for the weekend in deeper points leagues. Brent Burns, PP2 option. Not the Burns we're used to at 39 years old with only 8 points. He still has a very respectable 56 shots and 40 blocks. Dmitry Orlov is pointless in the last 6 games after having a 6-game point streak. Before that, he had a 4-game pointless streak, and before that, a 4-game point streak. Very sporadic player, no power play time. Jordan Staal, much safer floor. Couple of shots, hits, one of the best face-off guys in the league. Occasional shorthanded points still happens as he's number 48 all-time with 42 points. Only Brad Marchand, who's 10th all-time with 56 shorthanded points, is ahead of him in the active players list. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, 14 points in 28 games. He lost his PP2 spot on Tuesday to Jack Drury and now rotated to the 4th line. Unfortunately, Drury fell to injury in the first period, so KK might have more responsibilities come the weekend. Speaking of Jack Drury, it's hard to place him here as he might not be ready for the weekend. He was my first ad of the week in a few deep Cats league this week. I needed the face-off and power play presence on the off nights. I don't know if he'll be back on line 2 or line 4 or back at all, but it's worth monitoring. I'm not touching Martinook. I'm not touching Jackson Blake as their peripherals are atrocious. William Carrier is good if you're in a league that counts hits. For Sunday, we've got 9 more teams. Buffalo Sabres, Chicago Blackhawks, Columbus Blue Jackets, Minnesota Wild, both New York teams, the St. Louis Blues, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Vegas Golden Knights. At number 1, I know he's pointless in the last 3 games, but it doesn't matter. Matthew Knies is on the first line with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. First power play with Tavares and Nylander. He's surrounded by superstars. I'm all in on Knies this weekend in home divisional matchups. Bo Horvat, 4 points in the last 4 games for the top line center. Monahan and Marchenko have been the best streamers all year for shallow leagues, and it shouldn't stop here. Will Queally has already eclipsed last year's total with 22 points on the season and an unbelievable 108 hits, good for 4th in the league. He also has 50 shots. At number 5, Dylan Holloway. I know he's on the 3rd line right now in PP2, but the last few weeks have been exceptional. 7-game point streak with 6 goals, 5 assists, 11 points, including 4 multi-pointers. Great peripherals with 25 shots, 10 hits, and 7 blocks during the same sequence. Kent Johnson, 7 goals, 4 assists, 11 points in the 10 games since being back from injury. Now on the first line and PP1 option in Columbus. Anders Lee, 6 goals, 5 assists, 11 points in the last 9 games, PP1 in New York. Brock Nelson, only 1 assist in the last 6 games, but he's always a power play threat for shallow leaguers. Marco Rossi, here's a guy who should be owned a lot more than he is. 24 points in 28 games. Top line, top power play in Minnesota alongside Kirill Kaprizov. 6-game point streak, top line, top power play for Pavel Buchnevich. Dylan Cousins, second line, PP1 option in Buffalo, 6 points in the last 8 games. Jake Neighbors has 14 points, 57 shots, 71 hits. He's got an amazing floor with PP1 time. William Karlsson, line 2, PP2 option for the former 40-goal scorer. Cal Palmieri, 3 points in the last 2 games on the second line, PP1 option for the Islanders. Max Pacioretty is slated to play next to Tavares and Nylander on Wednesday night. 25 shots, 45 hits in 15 games this season. Couple of Islanders first liners for now. Maxim Tsiplikov, Jean-Gabriel Pajot. I love their floors. They throw the body around. Pajot wins faceoffs and they both play on the PP2. JJ Peterka not doing too well recently. He lost his PP1 spot as Buffalo is 30th league-wide for power play, but he's still on the top line with Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck. Dmitry Voronkov is now on the second line, but still top power play option in Columbus. He's slowed down a little bit, but remains a great streaming option. Braden Shen shoots, hits almost every game, averages 1 block and a point every 2 games. Line 2, PP2 option. I love Braden Shen. Pavel Dorofeyev, line 2, PP2 option in Vegas. He shoots a lot. Riley Smith, 2 goals in the last 3 games, plays on the second line with Zibanejad and Chris Kreider. PP2 option that's very well surrounded. Cole Sillinger, 18 points on the year. His stock went down a tiny bit since he's on the third line right now. Still a PP2 option. And then we got the Chicago stack. That's Tyler Bertuzzi, Turvo Teravainen, Taylor Hall, high risk, high reward forwards. All these guys have very low peripherals in terms of hits and blocks, but they can all go off at any time. Teravainen and Bertuzzi are PP1, Hall is PP2. They all have between 11 and 13 points. You could even add Ryan Donato in the Chicago stack, who's got 10 goals on the season already and is PP1. Fraser Minton, so happy I got to speak about him before his first game. I'm a big fan of him. Even if he doesn't get on the score sheet, great side stats, 12 shots, 26 hits, 1 power play point, 1 game winner in only 9 games. He's got 4. He's growing to be a very good Cats League gem. Jason Zucker, third line winger, who's on the Buffalo PP1, sneaky ad. Speaking of sneaky ads, GVR is 0% rostered and has 3 assists in the last 2 games since being put on the first line, and he also has PP2 time. Max Domi got a point in his lone game back following a disastrous pointless streak. He might finally be healthy enough to stream a little more confidently. And finally, Adam Fantilli, line 2, PP2 option. Why so low? 1 assist, -4 in the last 6 games. Special mention to Peyton Krebs for deeper leagues, who's line 2 and PP2 in Buffalo. Marcus Foligno and Ryan Hartman in Minnesota are also decent option. Now on to defensemen. If and only if Dallin isn't back this weekend, Owen Power should be the top option here. It'll be interesting to see what he does with more responsibilities, including the PP1 in Buffalo. Damon Severson, even without power play, he keeps on producing. It feels really weird to say, but he's a safe option. Alex Vlasic, PP1 in Chicago without Seth Jones and 16th best shot blocker in the NHL right now. 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points in the last 6 games with 18 shots to go with it. Justin Falk, 3 assists in the last 4 with 2 coming from the power play. His teammates, Colton Parayko, has 3 points in the last 3 games. Philip Broberg, 3 points in the last 5 games since returning. Jacob Middleton, safe floor. Jared Spurgeon, PP1 in Minnesota, 11 points +9 this season. Bowen Byram, PP2 in Buffalo with Dallin out. He played up to 28 minutes last week. Dante Fabro plays on the first pair with Zach Werenski, and he just really fits in Columbus. Noah Hannafin, PP2 in Vegas, pointless in the last 6 at your own risk. Ryan Pollock, above 22 minutes per game, PP2 option, 43 shots, 47 hits, 68 blocks are great residuals. His teammate Romanov has some good residuals as well, with a few less points. Ekman Larson plays on a high-scoring team. 2 assists in the last 8 games makes him a risky option. The block king, Braden McNabb. We have Dennis Cholowski, who's 0% rostered right now. He's got 3 assists in the last 5 games played with a +4 ratio. He's also on the PP2 in New York. A couple of Rangers, Keandre Miller, Braden Schneider are secondary options for New York. Ivan Provorov is PP2 in Columbus, but I still believe Severson and Fabro hold more value even if they're not on the power play. And deep leagues, Kevin Korchinski gets the PP2 in Chicago. Now let's take a look at the goalies for Sunday. I have a couple of veterans, Marc-Andre Fleury, Jonathan Quick, who are 2 of the best second goalies in the NHL on very good teams. Tough matchups, but they're the most trustworthy on this list. Soderblom Comesso versus the Islanders for Chicago. I like the Chicago matchup at home. It could be a trap game for New York. Hawks got to win some too. Joel Hofer against the Rangers. Tough matchup, but at least he's at home. It'll be really tough for Vegas with 3 games and 4 nights away from home. The Wild's got 3 games and 4 nights as well, but they have the luxury to stay in St. Paul all week. We have Tokarski. After Spencer Martin went down to the AHL, the Canes called up Dustin Tokarski. Let's see if he still has some dog in him. Columbus on the back end of a back-to-back in Carolina, who will have fresh legs, is no good news for Tarasov. I see the Jackets be competitive, but I expect Carolina to score some goals here. And obviously, I would not pick any goalie traveling to Toronto. James Reimer is the Hail Mary play for Sunday. And let's take a look at the category sections. For shots, we have Dorofeyev, Nelson 2.9, Horvat 2.8, Dylan Cousins, Monahan 2.6, Ryan Donato 2.5, Ryan Hartman, Marchenko, Dylan Holloway at 2.4. For blocks, Chris Tanev 3.1, Middleton 2.7, McNabb 2.5, Pollock 2.3, Hamonic and Severson at 1.9. For hits, we have Quealy at 4, Foligno and Oliver at 3.5, Clifton, Carrier, Colizar, and Nathan Walker at 3.2, Pacioretty and Romanov at 3 per game. For faceoffs, Sean Monahan 10.9, Jordan Stahl 9.8, Nelson 8.3, his teammate Orvat 8.2, Dylan Cousins and his teammate Ryan McLeod 7.8, 7.6, Braden Shen 7.4, and Josh Norris, William Karlsson at 7.3. And that's it for today, guys. Hope you got what you were looking for here. Good luck to everybody. Time flies. It's almost halfway through fantasy season. No better time to line up the wins than now. If you like the content, please click the like button, subscribe to our channel, and I'll catch you guys next week. See you guys.